Hey, greetings everyone. My name is Tony Holowitz and thank you for being here for this tutorial. So there's a new update to Act Premium Cloud and I'm trying to give you the background on some of these updates as they come out. This is update, it is now 25.21 or underscore 21. So in this particular update, there's been some very minor changes. One of the changes I think it's curious because it's such a minor thing. I'm not even sure why they are announcing it. Having said that, let me show you what that is, and I'll talk a little bit more about one part of this update that I actually find very useful. And I think you'll find this useful as well as far as the way you can send an email. So let me show you that. So over here on the left-hand side, you'll notice there's a search option right here. Well, in this update, what they've done is they've taken that search option out. In other words, they've just taken it out of this list. Now, the way you can add it back or take it out if it's already there, I put it back to illustrate this, is on the ellipsis right here, these three little dots. I'm going to click on that. And what you have the ability to do with this area is you can come in here and you can reorder these items. But from what I can see in this update, all they've done is they've turned the search off so it doesn't show up automatically. That is a very minor change. And I find it sort of interesting. So in this change, what they did is they put out a release saying that what they've done is they've made some changes for the UI cleanup. Now, what I always find interesting about some of these things is what is UI? That's user interface. That's the acronym for user interface. So they're trying to make the way we see ACT and the way we interact with ACT easier for the average user. And also they're talking about UX or user experience. First of all, don't use acronyms. Spell these out because not everyone knows what that means. But, the bottom line here is ACT is evolving. They're constantly changing it. They're doing their best to make it better. And for that, I applaud them. The great thing about the cloud version of ACT is this. It constantly gets updated behind the scenes. When you log in, you won't necessarily see these changes. They're not something that jump out at you. They're not something that are dramatic, but that's one of the reasons I'm doing these videos is to give you a sense of what some of these things are. So having said that, I'm going to go back to ACT and I'll show you what I like. So I'm going to take the search off, leave it there and click OK. And now it's gone. So again, in their announcement, that's the major change. But let me tell you a subtle little thing they did that might have escaped notice that I think is really beneficial. So I'm going to come up top and I'm going to click on the list view. So let's say, for example, that you have a bunch of contacts in here and you want to send an email to a few of them. Well, let's say right here, you want to send an email here to Wile E. Coyote, Fred Flintstone, and I'm holding the control key down to click on different items. And I come in and all these have an email address. They're all fake email addresses. But I've selected 5 contacts out of the 50, approximately 5. If I want to send an email to them, what do I do? How do I do this if I want to send the same email to all these people? Well, I'm going to come up and click on email, and when I do that, it's going to open up Microsoft Outlook, and what it will do at this point is I want you to notice it's taken all their email addresses and put it up here in the to field. Now, there are times when you might not want to send it to everyone. Previously, you could do this with the desktop version of ACT. In an update they had done in the past of ACT Premium Cloud, this went away. So now it takes all those email addresses and puts it in the to field. Now, if you find that you don't want people to know, what I recommend is come up in the to field. What I recommend is click on the end where there's no content, the writing right here. And when you do that, do Control A to select all. Do Control X to cut them out of there. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to do Control V as in Victor to paste all those things into blind carbon copy. Now by doing that, when I paste it in a blind carbon copy, it now allows me to compose an email, send it out, and they won't see the others got it. Now you could have left it all in the to field, but then they would have seen that they got it. So this little option of being able to select random contacts in the list view and send them an email and have it fill in their email address is one little change that I think is very beneficial. So I just want to make you aware of that. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have questions about this or any of the other changes in this update or just curiosities. Okay, my friends, you have a great day. Be well. Bye now.